everyone, welcome back to Reality Tea with Harry T. This is where I break down all my favorite reality shows, so please continue to join, subscribe. It's your first time, welcome. I'm really excited to be doing all of these. Okay, so I did promise a character breakdown of all of the main cast members of Vanderpump Rules. They just started taping again. They started on Wednesday, so I'm really excited about that. We're having a new season soon. So in the interim, I will be covering New York. I will be covering Real Housewives of New York. I will be covering all the other ones. I'm not covering Real Housewives of Atlanta because I feel like it's boring and I'm not interested in that. I used to love Atlanta when Nene was on. I might do Summer House. Please let me know what you think. I'm always open to comments. I might do the new Summer House. It looks lots of fun. In fact, I might start watching it tonight. Okay, so I did promise you I would start with LVP. Now, in my opinion, LVP is the real MVP. You know, it's that pun on LVP, MVP. And I just want to ask, in my summary of her as a character, is she still relevant? Do you believe she's still relevant? Also, please like the video, comment, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, please follow and give me a rating. Okay, so a little breakdown, a little behind the scenes about LVP. This is her bio. She was born on the 15th of September in Dulwich, London, so it makes her a Virgo. She's such a Virgo, and I'll get more into that. She was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from 2010 to 2019. She left after her brother passed, and poor thing, it was awful to watch what they did to her. If you are into Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I'll be covering that too. But it was really awful to watch. I believe it was in season 9 when she left. It was just awful to watch her go through that. So she was also on Dancing with the Stars, I believe in 2016. I remember when she had that epic faint that the ladies of Beverly Hills accused her of faking, which is possible. She is a Virgo, and I'll get more into that. I love Virgos, but all signs, have they're good and they're bad, and sometimes Virgos can be very manipulative. We talk astrology here, in case you don't know. And she's really the mother figure of Vanderpump Rules. And, I remember a quote that she said to Andy Cohen before all of this started. She went to Andy Cohen and she said, "You have to meet my staff, they're very interesting." And then the infamous beginning of Vanderpump Rules, it led to the infamous beginning of Vanderpump Rules, where Brandy meets up with her now ex-husband's former mistress, who is Sheena Shea. At the time, she was not Sheena Shea, she was Gina. After she got married, she became Sheena Shea because she took her now ex-husband's last name. And I remember that they were sitting at the table. It was just very epic. I remember exactly where I was when I watched that first episode, and it's been 10 years of a ride, literally over 10 years of one hell of a ride. So LVP runs a lot of restaurants, one of them being So. I actually ate at Villa Blanca, one of the restaurants. She is quoted for saying Villa Blanca is where you take your wife, So is where you take your mistress. I went to Villa Blanca with a friend and her family for New Year's Eve in 2018, I believe, and I believe I got food poisoning there. That's what I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I looked at some of the ratings while I had food poisoning. I had nothing else to do because I was just lying in bed. And I saw the ratings, some of the food ratings that have that in LA, where you can write up if you believe you were contaminated by food poisoning. You can look it up on a website. And I looked it up, and apparently a lot of people at that time got it. I haven't looked at it since, but that's just what I saw. So, Saw birthed obviously Vanderpump Rules, and it's very interesting because what makes the show so great. I think it was my favorite reality show in tandem with Atlanta for many years, because I believe that they were real friends. When they brought other people into the mix, season 8, season 9, that's when things shifted. But as a whole, I believe that they were genuine friends. Genuine friends having it at each other. Genuine, or maybe some of them were friends, genuine rivals. But the show for, I believe, season 1, season 8 was very authentic. It's gotten back to the authenticity recently, but I'll get more into that as we go through the different characters. So, what I love about LVP is that she's very witty, she's very charming, and she has this queen energy about her. Everybody calls everybody queens these days, but I really think she is definitely, in my opinion, the queen of Beverly Hills. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She was the quintessential housewife of Beverly Hills. Now, she does have her other side to her, and I'll get to that in a moment. But what I really love about her humor, I grew up very British, and I love British humor. I think it's the best humor, and I love that she's so quick, she's so witty, she's very charming, and she just has a sense of humor that's just irreplaceable. I definitely have that sense of humor. Like I said, I grew up very British, but she'll say things and people think it's serious. Like, I'll do the same thing where I'll say something that I'm making a joke of, because I believe you have to make a joke of life sometimes, and people will think it's serious and it's really not. And some people that think it's serious, you see them react in a weird way, so she's okay with awkward moments. She's okay with making people feel awkward. I really, really like that, especially when she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So like I said, I believe she's the quintessential housewife, and she is an executive producer on Vanderpump Rules, her and her husband Ken Todd. So that leads me into the other side of her personality, which I believe can be very manipulative and calculating. And we've seen snippets of that throughout the seasons. And I must just congratulate her as EP for being able to have 10 seasons of a show. It's phenomenal. Very few reality shows can do it. Very few shows in general, TV shows can do it, can pull it off, because you have to keep the audience captivated enough. I mean, the fact that they've kept us this captivated for this long is very, very impressive. Which leads me to just put out one of my conspiracy theories. I definitely believe that production knew about Scandival. I believe Lisa knew about Scandival. Not to the extent that has been shown, but I definitely think they knew about Scandival. And I think that they wanted to prolong it so that they would have a season 11. They wanted it to break in between. I think that LVP went to speak to Tom when all of the suspicions were going on, and I think he might have confessed to her, and she said, don't tell her the truth. This is just my opinion. Don't tell her the truth, and if you do, tell her after the season is done. That's just what I think, and that's just what I gather from what I can see. It sounds a little far-fetched, but the reason why I think this is because Tom goes to LVP about a lot, and she defends them. She's often told them to kind of sugarcoat things, brush things off, sweep things under the rug, specifically about those two Toms. And I want to get to a bit of the relationship in a moment. I do just want to wrap up her manipulative personality by saying that Kristen, excuse me, was on Watch What Happens Live, and all of this broke out when Scandal broke out, and Andy was asking her a few questions about what she thought about different people, about cast members. The last one was LVP, and she said, I'm paraphrasing, I'm going to see if I can find the clip, but she basically said that she had enough of LVP. She had enough of her because she felt like she wasn't going to be used anymore. Kind of hinting that she was used. Now, Kristen is an Aquarius, and as a fellow Aquarius, we don't like people using us, and we don't like people manipulating us. And something else about us Aquarius, we will find out the truth about everything. So if you lie to us, we will find out that you lied to us and all that stuff. So I can guarantee you, Kristen has receipts about this, that she's holding on to herself and she's not letting out, because she obviously feels like the rest of her castmates still like LVP. So I have a few, I wouldn't say gripes, but I have a few things that LVP has done that I question. And culturally, she is British, and like I said, I grew up British mostly. I wouldn't say mostly, actually. I went to a British school. I have British heritage, and I grew up in South Africa, which was a British colony, and I still live in London too. So I can definitely relate to some of her personality culturally, because culture does have a huge aspect in who we are. And something that I see in some people that I know very strongly, especially older generations, is the need to sweep things under the rug, And that's something she's done in Beverly Hills, when she was on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And also she does consistently in Vanderpump Rules, is that specifically with the two Toms. I don't know what she has with them, but with the two Toms, she's willing to sweep things under the rug and act like things didn't happen. That's why I have that theory that Tom went to her to confide in her about the affair, because I just feel like, especially when Ken went into the kitchen in the I think it was episode 11, when he went to that kitchen while they were tasting sandwiches, it just doesn't add up that it was just coincidence. It was clearly planted, and they are producers jobs, they're meant to do that. It was planted with Katie because they know Katie has an issue with Rachel, aka Rochelle. So it was clearly planted, they clearly knew more, and the fact that they're not telling the truth is kind of like irking. But in time, we will know the truth. I strongly believe in time, one of them will come out and say that they knew, or production knew. That's what I love about life and social media, is that the truth always comes out. So examples of her defending Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval, is I find it very interesting that she would choose to open Tom with Tom and Tom, excuse me, because they aren't very reliable. They were not that great workers, and out of all the castmates, I thought maybe she'd open something with Stacy, because Stacy and her were the closest, and Sheena. Stacy and Sheena were the closest, if you remember season 1, 2, and 3. But to just randomly have her with Tom and Tom is very interesting to me, and I kind of want to do a deep dive into that maybe later. But it just comes across like maybe she thought Tom and Tom were the fan favorites, which has never really been the case, but maybe that was actually the case at that time when this happened. I didn't really keep up with social media back then in terms of Bravo shows, so maybe Tom and Tom were the fan favorites at that time, and that's what made her want to open a restaurant with them. I think it's Not the smartest move. I mean, she is a great businesswoman, but just from watching in, like Ariana said, she's not going to give her business advice. But from the outside looking in, it just seems very, just because somebody's a favorite at that time doesn't mean that they would have a business together for a long time, you know? Doesn't mean that there's just other factors going into that. So I don't understand why she chose Tom and Tom to open that. I also find it interesting that she blindly supports, in my opinion, I think she blindly supports the Toms, Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval, in everything that they do. And it's mostly with them. And maybe she sees their friendship, that they're loyal to one another, and she sees that as something that's positive, you know, because she is kind of like that, like I said before. And maybe to her, they are the ultimate love story, you know, because she has worked with husband and wives before, or partners in general before. So maybe she thought these two are the ultimate partners, you know, because they are partners to each other. And also I just don't understand, you know, the first episode of the season 10 reunion, when she cut Lala off and she said, oh, Tom Sandoval is not dangerous. And I totally disagree. I believe Tom Sandoval is dangerous. I had an ex like him, manipulative. It's a lot. Tom Sandoval is a lot, and I do believe he's dangerous. Not in the sense of he will do physical things to you. He might later down the road. But what makes Tom Sandoval so dangerous is that he'll control your mind, and he can drive you crazy, you know. And I believe your mind is very powerful. You know, you need your mind for a lot of things. But people like that they're like a virus. They'll get into your mind and make you feel crazy, make you feel all these things. So for her to say he's not dangerous and to downplay his role, how he's manipulated all these women, and just kind of try to sweep things under the rug, is a huge red flag to me, and makes me question her as a whole. Now, Jax recently went on a podcast and he said that he felt like Lisa Vanderpump was not relevant. And if you listened to my last episode, I did speak about how I felt as though her even narrating the Secrets Revealed episode it just felt like very forced. It felt like how season 8 and 9 were. Very forced, overproduced, and it was just really unnecessary. So I do think, and I agree with Jax Taylor, that I don't think she's relevant to the show anymore. She's not a motherly figure to them. They don't work for her anymore. And she's great. I think I love her as a housewife, but I think her role and the overproduction of her fits Beverly Hills. It doesn't fit Vanderpump Rules, and that's just my opinion. I'm open to hearing disagreements with that. We're all allowed to our opinion, but I just don't see why she's still so strongly in Vanderpump Rules when a lot of them don't even really talk to anyone. I mean, she didn't even know that Lala moved next door to Sheena, and I thought to myself when I heard that at the, I believe it was part 2, of the reunion, I thought that's pretty odd. Like, why would she not know that they live next door if they talk so often? Which means that they don't talk that often, which implies that she's not even in their lives. And if she's not even in their lives, why are they forcing her to be so? Because that's not authentic. I do believe she's still in Tom and Tom's life, and maybe that's who's going to film with them in the next season. I think it's mostly going to be like Tom confessing a lot to LVP, because she understands as an EP that Tom's role is necessary. But I really think her role started off as a genuine mother figure, but she has become someone that uses these casts, like Kristen said, to keep a show going and keep ratings going off of their lives. So that is my character breakdown of LVP. Let me know what you think. If you like the video and you want to hear more, please subscribe, and I'm open to hearing feedback. I'm big on respectful feedback and commentary. I love a good debate, not name calling, but just giving me your opinion. So please write that in the comment section. I will see you next week. Next week, I will be doing somebody that's been very monumental in the seasons. They're not on the show right now, but has been very monumental in Vanderpump Rules. So stay tuned. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and take care.
Pals, tell us who sucks more by saying their name followed by suck a dick. Who should suck a dick, Tom Schwartz or Tom Sandoval?
Sandoval, suck a dick.
Okay. Who should suck a dick, Sheena Shea or Katie Maloney?
Neither.
Okay. Who should suck a dick, Jax Taylor or James Kennedy?
James Kennedy, suck a dick.
Okay. Who should suck a dick, LVP or Sir GM Diana?
LVP, suck a dick.
Oh, wow. Are you in not a good place with LVP? She kind of cracks on you all the time.
Yeah, like I'm a pawn in a chess game and I'm over it. I'm 40.
Okay. Who should suck a dick, Lala?